Okay, so once the problem and the root causes are identified, the next step would be to come up with a plan, do, study, act cycle. The first step in the plan, do, study, act cycle is plan. So in this instance, you want to think about what your objective is and what may or may not happen, and what the plan is for the test of change. So to initiate planning mode, you want to recruit people who are familiar with the problem, have a true interest in making a change, and people who are just really knowledgeable and who will seek opportunities for improvement. So to address patient falls in the ED specifically, there might be, again, this is in the perfect world, right? It's not like we have the financial resources or even, people to do something like this. But to address patient falls in the ED, maybe a fall team is formed and notified every time a fall happens, specifically in the ED, so that we can interview the patient, interview the nurses, we can, figure out kind of what happened and what led to the fall. So the fall team will be able to gather all of this information and all of this data and look at the current process and see what's working, what's not working, and then brainstorm ways to make it better. And then the last phase of the planning stage would be the fall team specifically describing the problem and using root cause analysis and all the data they have since, gathered, like in just being able to interview patients and interview nurses and stuff, to analyze causes and develop alternatives to figure out how we can maybe fix this problem. So so after we've planned, the next thing we want to do is do. So we want to implement the action plan. So in the ED, this might entail using a different fall risk assessment tool, and then educating all the nurses to do it on every single patient, every single time, regardless of the age, chief complaint, patient history, whatever it is. I think every patient needs a fall risk assessment done, needs to be documented in the computer. We should also, this might also include communicating and educating fall prevention to patients and family members every single time. It doesn't have to be this long, lengthy explanation, but we're already in there getting an H&P and doing an assessment, so it shouldn't be a big deal to add 5 minutes just to explain why it's super important that they call if the patient wants to get out of bed, or they keep their non-slip socks on, whatever it is, and not just educating the patient but also the family members. I think that is key to making this change. And the other part of our do plan is handoff report on every patient every time care is transferred. So it doesn't matter how quick you think you're going to be. It could be 30 seconds, and all you really have to do is super quick. It doesn't have to be head to toe. It doesn't have to be an intense, detailed report, but just the really pertinent things like this severely intoxicated patient, or I just gave, a dose of morphine, or whatever it is. Anything that could potentially make this patient a high fall risk, or anything that, the ER tech or another RN or the physician or whatever it is should know. I think a handoff report should be done every patient, every time care is transferred. So on the next slide, we are going to talk about study and act.